tons of people have been coming to his defense. Idiots like Laura Ingraham, who, by the way, had Christina Bobb on there. And this is great. I've seen a little bit of this floating around. I haven't watched it, but I've seen it on Twitter. And this is her asking, this reeks of one of those situations like when Don Jr. was on Hannity, or Eric was, where they help you get through your answers. So let's see. Christina Bobb, we just looked at it. We just looked at the document. That's Christina Bobb's signature right there, okay? Just clarify. That lady right there, this lady right here, okay? That's Christina Bobb. She's an OAN host. She's one of Trump's lawyers. She is not the one it was handed to first, supposedly. She's the one who signed for it. His other attorney was present, this blonde woman. I forget her name, but they haven't really talked about her that much. Yes. This is Laura Ingraham. She's mad because she already had the money spent from the sale of those documents. That's the upsetting part. So let's see. I'm curious. I'm sure you are too. At what? Let's see if I can blow this up a little bit. Move this over so we can see. I'm extraordinarily curious whether or not she's shed some light. Let's see. On the fruits of crime. Hold on, wait. Turn this off. Hold on. Is this playing through? No, it isn't. Hold on one second, if I may. 11, 12. Hold on. I've got to set this up. Don't you know? There we go. Yeah, that'll do it. Give me 1 second, and we'll go back to... This is Christina Bobb doing her thing.
Joining me now is President Trump's personal attorney, Christina Bobb.
Uh-huh. Very, very personal.
She was at Mar-a-Lago.
Oops, hold on. Quit it. You can't... Don't play the audio. Okay, here we go.
Mar-a-Lago when agents were rummaging through the former...
Rummaging. They were rummaging.
President's residence.
They were just... Yeah, that's what... It was a rummage sale. The FBI was just there to rummage. It was a search and rummage warrant.
Thank you for being with us tonight.
Sorry, a rummage and seizure warrant.
Now, your reaction about the breaking news... absolutely. Your reaction about the breaking news tonight.
And also, thank you for having a Miami Vice background behind you.
About these supposed nuclear documents that...
Yeah, clear this up, Christina. Tell her what's up.
May have been in Mar-a-Lago and were the cause for concern and for the urgency of this search warrant in the Washington Post tonight.
And notice, by the way, that Laura is already... She feels she knows the answer to this already. You could tell, like, this ridiculousness. Thank you, Feet on the Ground. By the way, this is Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. I didn't even bother to tell the name of the show. I just rushed right in because it's been such a crazy day. Like and subscribe, especially if you're on Twitch. Help out. Enjoy the show. Here we go. It's just... Oh.
Right. Well, you nailed it in your opening monologue.
So nailed it.
This is what the Democrats do. They don't have any good reason for doing what they did. The pathetic presser that Merrick Garland held.
The pathetic presser. So they just road test these phrases?
For 3 minutes was insufficient. So they had to create fear. Normally they should come out with exactly what happened and why.
No, they shouldn't.
And explain themselves, and if it was a good reason, they would have solid ground. They are not on solid ground, so they had to come up with something that would...
They didn't say this. The news media, like, who has been, like, foraging like mad for this information are the ones that said that it involved nuclear stuff. This is, people close to them. This was not Merrick Garland who said this. Merrick Garland came out and said a very limited number of facts, basically to help that, get people to call off the dogs on FBI agents and stop putting their lives in danger. And then just said this was just a normal thing. I signed off on it because it's that high up, but every other aspect of it is just like any other case.
Potentially terrify the American public into freely giving up their constitutional freedoms.
The fuck are you talking about? Freely giving up? This is how it is for everybody. This is just the curious part is why would it be a special case for him?
You know, if we are on the verge of nuclear war, giving up the nuclear codes, maybe it's acceptable that they violated the president's constitutional rights. It was not acceptable, and they're...
What? We don't have to be on the verge of nuclear destruction for us not to want nuclear, like even just details about the nuclear system out there. Secondarily, codes? Hey, dummy, codes? You're hinting that the codes were there. Let's understand. Christina Bobb is saying, oh, if we were on the edge of nuclear war, maybe they'd be worried that the nuclear codes are in the wind. But we weren't. So why are they worried that the nuclear codes are in the wind at Mar-a-Lago?
Trying to come up with reasons to make it sound appropriate and make it sound okay, because they don't actually have a good reason for doing what they did.
Yeah, they do. They have boxes and boxes of reasons.
Okay, so Chris,
we also know that Trump is a broke son of a bitch with a lot of debt. That's also a good reason.
just so I'm clear about this, I want to be
just be abundantly clear. Let's hear it.
really clear.
Really clear.
Is it your understanding that there were not documents related to our nuclear capabilities or nuclear issues that had national security implications in the president's possession when the agents showed up at Mar-a-Lago?
Okay. Think carefully. Don't rush into this. This is a big deal. This is your chance, Christina. You've been stuck on OAN forever. It's a dead-end network. This is your chance to get Laura Ingraham's job. Hit it.
That's correct. I don't believe they were, and if they thought
well,
they were...
do you know for a fact? Do you know for a fact they were? Have you spoken to the president about it?
I have not specifically spoken to the president about...
All right. Well, okay. All right. Thanks. That's a wrap. Hi, dummy. We're literally watching someone, a lawyer for the president being, the former president being interviewed, who knows less about it than you and I do, who are watching this. How is that possible? Yes, back to OAN with you. Good night. And yes, I'm sorry, you are too stupid to share in the fruits of crime.
What nuclear materials may or may not have been in there.
Yes, we're pretty sure he didn't have a box of plutonium like Doc Brown from Back to the Future, you dipshit. Nuclear materials. They didn't show up in Hurt Locker outfits with Geiger counters, dummy.
Believe there were any in there.
It was just these are some jokes that really bombed. It was nuclear material.
The team had done a very thorough search and had turned over. We'd been very cooperative with...
Very cooperative. So cooperative that we still had 15 boxes of documents with top secret items in there that we hadn't returned, and we were keeping in an unlocked room at an event rental space.
The Biden administration and the DOJ, and turned over everything that we found that we had. So it's my understanding on very...
Oh, wait. We found that we had? We found that we had. What do you mean? Did you not look through these boxes yet? We'll get around to it. Were the dozens of visits from people from the National Archives and from the DOJ not a clue that they had a list of things that you haven't turned in yet?
Good belief based on a thorough investigation that there was nothing there.
So,
what thorough investigation, Miss? I don't believe there was anything with the thing.
Christina, when you were there and the agents arrived,
were you afraid for your life? Did you pee? Did you lay on the ground? Did you cover your head? Did you feel? Aren't you the new George Floyd? Tell us, Christina.
Did you ask, can I accompany you on this grand journey through Mar-a-Lago?
This grand journey through Mar-a-Lago. A trip through the fruits of crime. What? No, you don't get to go in, dummy. They make you stand outside. Did you see the Eastman stuff? He was in his underwear. First of all, John Eastman, Trump's attorney, the reason he had to stand outside in his underwear is because he heard a woman's voice at the door, and he answered the door with no fucking pants on. There's a knock at the door. FBI. It's a woman's voice. Now, either you put some pants on, and then you come to the door, or you go, oh, I love this game, baby. Thanks for buying me the FBI lady there to search and siege me. I'll just leave my pants off this time.
And they said no? Like, how did that play out?
Yeah, how does that play out? Oh, it plays out actually like it is with everyone else.
I did. I actually believed that I could just follow them because
Well, why would you believe that?
that seemed like the appropriate thing to do. So I
No, it's not.
just started to follow them and was told I wasn't allowed to. And
Right.
I'm the president's attorney here.
Yes, and part of what we're investigating is a RICO case involving the sale of secret items. So even his lawyers are suspect. Also, fuck off.
On site. No one else had arrived at that time and said, I should have the opportunity to observe your search and observe what you're doing. And they basically said no. And I tried to push a little bit, but I'm not going to push.
But I actually, I have to admit, I kind of know the law. And so I only pushed just so I could say I pushed.
Too hard against the FBI, so I backed off. But
that was sweet. You didn't want to get one of them in a chokehold, try to get them tap out. Let me look.
At no point during the day did they let me follow them or
I think that's wise.
accompany them throughout the property.
Now, Christina, the president has been given until 3 p.m. tomorrow to decide whether he wants that warrant unsealed. What, if anything, can you tell us about that decision-making process?
Sure.
Of course, the left is saying, well, if he wants to be so transparent, why doesn't he just get it all out there?
Right.
And you're
Well, he doesn't really have a choice. He has to fight it, which he chose not to.
responsible.
Because it would eat his entire argument alive. And so that's why he's moved to they planted evidence.
Yeah, well, my response is it's President Trump's decision, and he can
It's President Trump's decision.
make that when he's good and ready to do it. But I want
Yes, when he's darn good and ready. Well, Merrick Garland already made the decision for him, and he's got to make his decision whether to shut it down.
remind everybody that it is the Biden administration that owes this country an explanation, not President Trump. It was the
Well, no, the Biden administration already knows that nuclear material should not be in the wind.
Biden administration that took an egregious step to violate constitutional rights of a president of the United States. And
Former. Also, not egregious. They didn't... I'm sorry. Are you under the misapprehension that that's his house? Mar-a-Lago is not that man's home. It's a country club and a hotel that he lives in some of the time because he's too lazy, stupid, or broke to buy his own goddamn house and hire his own staff. So he tits off the staff at Mar-a-Lago that the membership pays for.
invade his personal residence, and now they want to try
Invade his personal residence. Yes. He sleeps on the floor of 45 office.
shirk that responsibility by just saying, well, why doesn't he release it? No. They owe us
No. You release it. Okay. Fuck. I'm supposed to do it. Oh, I thought they would say no.
an explanation, and
I
they
was really counting on that.
get out of it that quickly. And I'm sure President Trump is going to make his decision, and I know that he bases his decision on what he believes is best for the country and what will bring us together and unite us. And I'm sure
Well, what will unite us, which is, of course, saying that the FBI planted evidence so that his lunatic followers go and attack random FBI agents and try to kill them. That's what a uniter does. Instead of going, you know what? Take all the boxes. Actually, as a matter of fact, everything that I took out of the White House that we haven't gone through yet, we've talked about, what we have gone through, and we sent some stuff back. Everything else is in this room. Come today and take it all back. And then when you let me know when it's been all vetted, any mistake, no harm, no foul, then I would like copies of any of this stuff that you can clear for me. I will pay for a copy of, so that I can put it, so I can put it in my so I can put it in my library. So I can put it on the app.
that is the driving factor for his decision.
It totally is. That's anyone can see that in the 15 months of fighting he did with the National Archives.
Christina, the scuttlebutt, because it always changes. Yesterday it was that Merrick Garland knew nothing about the raid. That was
No one said that.
hilarious.
I don't know what you're talking about. Like, that's something she made up in her head. Who said Merrick Garland knew nothing about the raid? Like, that's an assertion I have seen nowhere.
And then today they sent him out to say, trust us.
Look, you can't make up a lie that someone never said and then say it's a violation of trust that they came out and told the truth that you said that they said the opposite of. What am I talking about? If that was true, Laura Ingraham wouldn't have a show on the air.
Everyone's being mean. And now there's a Secret Service agent, perhaps that's the one that saw this nuclear or whatever material, and he or she is the one that's helping establish that.
Oh, okay. So that's interesting. It's a Secret Service agent. It's not, Mar-a-Lago staff. It's not family members. It's not people in his inner circle that he can't trust. It's one of these people that the government put him on. Yeah. That's fascinating, because so far, that has been the only assertion I've heard about who the person is. Everybody else has been talking about somebody in Trump's circle, but Laura Ingraham on her show with Trump's personal lawyer, is basically saying that what they do know is that it's a Secret Service agent. It's a he or a she of the he's or the she's. Listen to this.
Or whatever material, and he or she is the one that's helping establish that probable cause for the warrant. Tonight, what can you tell us?
Yeah, okay. I don't know, honest to God. She seems very certain that it's a Secret Service agent. That's weird to me, because we all know that John Barron called this in himself, because Trump has not been paying his bills, and his alter ego, schizophrenic publicist character that he does, has turned on him like a bad Batman storyline. And
about the Secret Service detail that was assigned to President Trump, and concern that may have been what got this going.
Yeah. I don't believe that for a second. I think the Secret Service has a lot of professionalism, and I don't believe for a moment
that they care more about the national security than they do about Donald Trump. All right.
That the problem with this is on President Trump or anyone in his circle. I think it's a story that the leftist media wants to try to paint the picture that somehow there's division within the Trump camp. There's not.
They want to paint the picture?
And to the extent that they think there's an informant or some other type of division that is causing this, I'll believe it when I see it. I'll reserve that judgment. But I think this squarely falls on the shoulders of the Biden administration, and I want to see what they got, because I don't think they have enough for.
Yeah, first of all, what they got is our stuff as Americans. That's what they got. Secondly, you've seen what they got. They gave you a list of the documents. You signed it.
Their actions.
Well, they're certainly changing their story quite a bit. And
No, you are changing their story. Can we be abundantly clear? Laura Ingraham made up an assertion about Merrick Garland not knowing about the raid at all, having no idea it happened, and then that when he came out and told what precipitated the raid and why it was important and the value of it, because FBI agents' lives were in danger because of these fuckheads. What ultimately happened? What happened? She made up a version of events, and then she contradicted those version of events and laid it on someone else. Their story does not change.
A 72-hour period. Christina, when they were in Mar-a-Lago.
First of all, if you want to talk about whose story has changed in a 72-hour period, Christina Bobb said she didn't see the warrant and the list of documents for 4 days. She said she didn't see it. that they held it up and she got a 10-foot look at it and they didn't give it to her. We've seen her. Here, you want to know the truth? That's Christina Bobb's signature. And if I may, well, here's the other. There's what time she signed it and on what date. Sorry, my camera's was out of focus. Very strange. That's Christina Bobb's signature. She signed it at 6:19 p.m. on August 8th of this year. She said for 3 days after this that she did not see this document right here, which she did, and the attached receipt for property. She said she did not see those things. And I do mean not see.
Now, I know the layout of Mar-a-Lago. I've been to Mar-a-Lago.
What? Can you imagine? Can you imagine Rachel Maddow going, look, I know the Obama's house. I've been to the Obama's house. Tell me a little, can you just, that would be played on a frigging loop on Ben Shapiro's show.
What, did they...
Can you smell it on the document?
They focused their search in the president's private quarters. It's a big club.
Yeah, it's awesome. Such a big, it's huge.
There's a lot of space there.
Yeah, it's great, and you know what? And an economical place to have a wedding, if I do say so myself. I mean, it's money well spent.
Or did they go all over the entire club? Because that's a lot of room.
I don't know. Ask her to show you the search warrant, because she had a copy of it when she was on Laura's show, and it says you can go anywhere except in the private quarters of people who are visiting, like members of the CCP, the Saudi royal family, and a Russian oligarch who had fled just in time not to lose his money during the beginning of the war.
That's a lot of ground to cover.
Right.
And they had
it's not that big.
30 agents or so, I know.
Yeah, there's plenty.
Right. So
By the way, they did not have corpse dogs. I'm just saying for the record, just in case we find out that Ivana wasn't the only Trump that's buried on property.
that they were specifically looking at 3 areas. They were looking at the presidential office.
Mm-hmm.
They were
The presidential office. You mean 45office.com?
looking at the residence, the private family residence, and then the storage unit that we've heard so much about, on the bottom floor.
On the bottom floor. In the basement, you mean?
So I believe the search was contained to those 3 areas. That's
Well, you had cameras running the whole time. You've got footage. Please show the footage.
I've been told.
I've been told.
No reason to believe that they went anywhere else, but because I didn't accompany them, I can't say for certain, but I...
Yeah, well, you could have gone to the security booth at at Mar-a-Lago and watched it on the screens. The Secret Service has a whole setup there. You could have watched from there, dummy.
don't think they went anywhere else.
I don't think they went anywhere else. They did have a frog team going into the pool, but basically one of them came up and he had a used condom on his mask and he had to be taken to a place to vomit.
I want to play a moment, Christina, from the Attorney General today. Watch.
I'm trying not to get too irritated at Laura Ingraham's bugging face.
The department does not take such a decision lightly. Where possible, it is standard practice to seek less intrusive means as an alternative to a search and to narrowly scope any search that is undertaken.
Christina, is there any reason then legally why he can't tell us why a search became necessary?
Anybody who's been following this case, stupid, like this didn't come out of nowhere. We've all known he's been back and forth about with the National Archive stuff by itself, and the boxes. Remember the story? Jesus Christ! It was like, I have to see if I can. I have like sharing screen right now. Stuff is really annoying to try and do this, but if you feel like it, from January 20th, or like the days before, like the 18th, 19th, 20th. That when Trump was moving out, there is that picture of him with these boxes, and if you look it up, you can, people focused in on the fact that there was top secret stuff in those tubs when they were being taken out at the time. You could see it. And that's been an ongoing story. This is not like it happened overnight. Also, we now know that, and Christina Bobb not telling Laura Ingraham, or Laura Ingraham knowing and not saying, is, like par for the course for these assholes. But ultimately, it shows that, that either Christina Bobb has an awareness of guilt that on the part of the president as his lawyer, she's just covering for him, or Laura Ingraham is trying to help them dovetail this story in a direction that she doesn't know, or she's just unaware there was a subpoena in the spring.
Right. That's a really nice soundbite, and I think that that's how they're campaigning, and that's how they're running the administration.
They're campaigning and yes, because it's all political.
Because we were cooperating with them. We met with them. I was there when they came in June, and
oh yeah, what they give you in June when they came? Did they bring anything? Any paper? I don't know. Any official things exchange hands that you're aware of?
President Trump himself met with them, briefly. And
briefly? Oh, he did. Okay, so he was aware of this. He was aware that they'd been there multiple times and that they had actually gone out of their way, instead of just contacting them, they actually showed up and said, hey, we need some of this shit back.
Hello, and said anything you need. And he
anything you need, except don't go in that room.
Pointed to the attorneys there and said anything they need, make sure they do it.
And why didn't you?
We had been cooperating to the fullest extent. And from that meeting in June, the next thing I heard was on Monday, where they said, you got to get down to Mar-a-Lago. They're raiding the place.
So, I'm sorry. Anything they need, they gave you a list of things. They wanted all the boxes back. And anything they need meant you ignoring them since June. So he put you in charge, and you blew it up. Okay, so this raid was Christina Bobb's fault. Let's just put it there. All of his attorneys.
Well, that's odd, because we had just said, if you need anything else, let us.
2 months ago, and then we didn't say anything else. We didn't return any phone calls. We didn't give them any heads up that we were even preparing or holding any of these documents. We didn't secure them. We put a padlock on the door, and then we didn't talk to anybody.
No. So I don't.
All right. This is, by the way, this is just a flat out lie, but it's so dumb it barely qualifies as lying.
I don't believe his statement. It sounds really nice, and it's a good principle that we should live by, but they don't.
Now, much was made about the safe, the safe cracker and so forth. But do we know, was there anything in this?
Operation Safe Cracker is what the Secret Service code word was for getting Trump out of danger when he was president. I'm just saying. I'm kidding. Operation Safe Cracker. Get him to a. We've secured a McDonald's nearby. Keep him in the basement till the threat passes. Operation Safe Cracker.
Safe, was it much ado about nothing with the safe? Did anyone even know how to open the safe? What do we know about it?
Well, I love this story because I actually couldn't accompany them, and so I couldn't see it. I couldn't see what they were opening. So we know about the story because of the CCTV, and the cameras were on, and so.
All right. Now we're just being stupid. So now the cameras were on, and we know what happened. Why don't you release that footage? Or are we getting to the point where they don't want to show the footage of them getting the stuff out that's really telling, like just walking boxes out of the place, but they want to show they've got footage of them busting open the safe because they wouldn't be given the combination for the safe or the key. Ugh.
Those in New York watching were aware. So I have to take.
Whoa! What? Back up. So Trump was watching, or Don Jr. or somebody, I guess they all were watching CCTV footage of what was going on in Mar-a-Lago from New York on their. So there's a CCTV feed of Mar-a-Lago and that shows Trump secures places where his safe is in New York. How secure is that friggin' place? The hell?
were on, and so those in New York watching were aware. So I have to take their word for it. I know the president put the story out, so I have no reason to believe it didn't happen, but I wasn't able to witness it because I was pretty much relegated to the parking lot.
No, so when
Well, obviously,
you were speaking with the FBI agents and the agents at the time, were they cordial? Were they?
No, of course not. They were rude. They were dismissive. They were evil. I mean, she still got bruises. She just covered them with makeup. It was terrible.
You can get a sense if someone's kind of embarrassed that they have to do something, or it's just like, thank you, move aside.
Well,
like, just give us some flavor.
Initially,
give us some flavor. Should we hunt these people down? Jesus Christ. No. First of all, initially they told me to piss off because I had no evidence that I was a lawyer, so it took a while.
Initially, it started out a little heated.
A little heated because I had no proof I was an attorney, and I was standing in between the FBI and a place they had a search warrant for. That happens.
I mean, I was upset, and they were not excited to see me. So
but Christina, that's true of everyone and every situation you're ever in. Except, I guess, when you're in Trump's office.
We had a little bit of an incident initially, just me wanting access to the warrant. They didn't believe they needed to even show me the warrant. So we fought about that.
They didn't believe you were his attorney.
Not for very long, maybe a minute, no more than 2.
Yeah, 2 whole minutes of the denial of the constitutional rights. I'm like, no, well, you can look at it, but until you can prove you're his attorney and not just some rando asshole at Mar-a-Lago, which is a place you can rent. Anyone who can pay their way in can get in here.
And I didn't.
It's not a private house.
An opportunity to see it. They didn't give it to me. And then after we kind of worked through that, it was a long day. So, there's no point.
Yeah, it's a long day, especially those 2.5 minutes.
Keeping it heated for too long. So only for a couple minutes there was a little bit of tension, and then it calmed down for the most part. And
she calmed down.
Everything was fine.
Don't you know who I am?
They wouldn't allow me inside anywhere, so I had to stand out in the heat for, I don't know, 8.
It's Florida.
8 hours or so, maybe 9 hours. And so
no, you didn't.
Eventually they were kind and offered me water because I was out there, but I would have appreciated the opportunity to wait in air conditioning.
Yeah. Did they give you the inventory list before they left or while they were doing?
Well, yeah, that's a good question. That's getting near the end of this.
The raid that they don't want to call a raid?
Right.
Yeah, it wasn't a raid.
The raid. We do have the inventory list, as you can expect. It's not particularly helpful. Yes.
Yes, it's devastating to your case and your client.
I kind of have the inventory list. They gave me the official receipt, but
you're going to give it to us tonight, really Christina. We're happy to talk about it.
It's good to show it to us. You can tell us what's in it, so that we can look at it and go, "Oh shit, I shouldn't have backed this pony."
I would
for the next
love
40
to.
minutes on the show. Yeah. Well,
I would love to.
Christina, we really appreciate your joining us.
Yeah.
You're a young lawyer, and you were put in a one of the most.
Yes, you're way over your head, and it's sad and scary when someone as dumb as you is stuck in a situation like that, and we felt bad not only for you but for the FBI agents who had this hysterical, psychotic stranger loitering around demanding answers with no identification.
And I think egregious abuses of federal authority that I've seen in my legal career.
In your legal career, what's your time on Fox? Your illegal career?
Long time, but we really appreciate your joining us tonight and answering some of these questions.
Hey, yes, and by the way, thanks for setting this up in a way that makes us look like huge assholes later on. That's the great thing about this.